What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today we are back at CES Motorsport. The guys took the Supra, the shop Supra. Yes, it looks a lot like mine. It is not my car. They took the shop Supra over to the drag strip. Kind of like a last minute deal. I would have gone with them had I known, but next time I'm going to join them. They ended up taking the shop Supra to the drag strip and got two very solid passes on the car. We've got one pass at 10.7 quarter mile and another one at 10.5. And then they went into the third pass and ended up snapping an axle. So this is interesting because we're kind of finding the limits of the Supras, and I wanted to get John's insight on, when can you expect that axle to go? How long can you really push the car and launch it on the drag strip with slicks until the axle becomes that weak point? We already know that the transmissions are kind of the weak point, where once you get to about 700s in the horsepower and torque range, that's when the transmissions start to slip. Usually the axles in these cars are pretty good until you get to about the 700s. So we do have some new power data for you guys on the shop Supra. There was a little bit more tuning and a little bit more refining with the meth. Remember, this car has stock fueling, stock turbo. The only modifications are a catless downpipe, an E50 MHD custom tune, and the methanol injection kit. So without explaining too much, we're just gonna get into it. I'm gonna show you guys. We're pulling the car off the trailer right now. Let's talk to John and see what happened and take a look at the car. All right, here she is. Oh. Yep. There she blows. Looks normal, right?
Totally normal.
Oh, totally normal.
Shit flew on the track.
All right, you guys. John, welcome back to the channel. We are back at the shop. I'm gonna jump right into it. So, a couple of graphs up here for you guys. One is mine. You'll see the thick whip, and that is the blue, the two blue lines. So that is what I am currently running on my car with the E50 tune that we have, or the E-blend tune, I should say. And then up top here, the red and the black is going to be John's, the shop Supra. Now this is the most recent power data that they had, and this is what they were running when they went to the track last night. So he was making 544 and 604. This is stock turbo, stock fueling. The tune is a MHD custom E50 blend tune, right?
Yeah, so we're working with the Pure Boost guys and MHD to develop this tune on E50 plus the meth injection.
The meth injection, we covered all that in the other video, so if you haven't seen that video, I'm gonna put a card right here, go check that out. We're not gonna get back into that whole thing because we already covered all of it. But John, we have the car back at the shop here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened and what the state of the car is and kind of what we've learned.
Well, obviously we wanted to push the limits with the stock turbo, stock exhaust, full weight car. A lot of guys that are running out there, they'll do weight reduction to see if they can get the times. The average customer who has a completely stock car wants to see what kind of bolt-ons they can do, real data, real times. That's what we were after. So stock exhaust, stock turbo. I think the only mods that we have are our downpipe. we have the MST intake and the FTP charge pipe set up so that we can run the dual jet meth system. It's a snow performance kit, kind of customize it for the car, and then obviously the custom tuning that we just finished doing that you were showing. Our goal was to take it out of the track and see what we could do, and actually right off the trailer we did a 10.7 pass and then backed it up with a 10.5 pass at almost 130 miles an hour, and then we went for a third pass, and unfortunately we broke the passenger side axle.
So what were the mile per hours? I'm going to throw up the time slips right here while we're talking about them, but the first pass you did 10.7 quarter mile, and the speed was,
I think it was 128.
128. Now,
double check that real quick.
What can you talk a little bit about, like, what the differences that you guys made from the first pass to the second pass, or were there any?
So really the only thing that we were playing around with was tire pressure. We had the 17-inch wheels with the Mickey Thompson tires. So yeah, they're the ET Street R's.
And so you guys, you didn't change, did you mess around with pressure at all? Did you notice anything with like the temperatures? What changed?
So obviously when you're at the track, when it's a little warmer and the sun's still out, the IATs were a little bit hotter. I think it was about 20 degrees hotter on the very first pass, but she was definitely warmed up, and we were running pretty high tire pressures. We were almost at 30 psi just to test it out, just to kind of get a feeler for it, and was very impressed because we immediately bested our time by a couple tenths versus the straight up E30 tune that we had with no meth previously. I think we had done like a 10.9 at 123 miles an hour. And this pass with a 1.660 foot was a 10.7 at 128. Then obviously after a cool down, we came back in and did the second pass. We dropped the tire pressure just 2 psi, so I think we were still running around 28. Clocked off a 10.55 at 129, almost 130 miles an hour. And IATs were about 20 degrees cooler that one because it was about an hour and a half before we were able to get another pass in. But she did phenomenally well, and that was at the 1.53 60 foot. Wow. So we were able to pick up almost a tenth off our 60 foot with those minor changes and a little bit of temperature drop in the overall ambient temps outside. And then the last pass, we dropped it down a couple more psi, and I think we would have had a 1.4 60 foot, at least the way it felt. I did launch it a little bit hard out of the hole that time, but unfortunately the stock axle just didn't like us very much at that point, and that's it.
That's it. So what are you thinking? Are you going to do a built axle, or what's the plan?
Yeah, obviously since we're going to be continuing pushing the power in the car, we want to do the upgraded axles. There's a couple different options out there that we're looking at right now. Obviously the ones through Titan Motorsport and DSS are the most popular right now, but there's a couple other options that we want to look into as well.
Is there anything particular about where your axle broke?
So it broke right at the CV joint where it connects to the diff. That's one of the weak links obviously for these axles, and one that does get replaced when it is rebuilt. So if anybody's interested in replacing their axles, even if you did break one like we did, the core is actually something that you can use and turn in as long as you didn't damage the splines that go into the hub. The rest of the axle pretty much gets replaced. From what my understanding is, at least through the ones that Titan offers, you'll be able to supply those as a core, so you don't have to pay the core charge. What
kind of horsepower levels have you seen these axles go out at? Like, where is the limit with them?
So yeah, that's actually why we're surprised, because from my understanding, I think they could have handled about another 100 torque at the wheels. I mean, there's guys pushing 700 plus torque out of these, and they're holding, but that's racing sometimes. You know, on the street, it's not something that I think you should worry about. I mean, even the other car that we did that was pushing, over 630, 640 wheel on the street handled just fine, no issues. Customer's been driving it for months now, loves the car, hasn't had any issues for street. But when you take the cars to the track and you're hooking very hard at the drag strip, the track that we go to down here, they have great track prep, and she hooked very hard out of the hole. And I think a combination of that, stock turbo with how quickly she spools. I mean, we're hitting 550, almost 600 torque by 25 to 3200 RPM, and that's all she wrote. But typically, stock axles should handle this amount of power.
What are your thoughts on the transmission? How is it holding up with the level that you're at?
So far, so good. I think we're starting to approach the limits. I think it would be fantastic if we did get some sort of a transmission flash update. Come on, XHP. I think that would be very helpful with the trans. But I think about 700 torque, 650-ish to 700 is the limits that everybody's been seeing before we need to start really upgrading the transmissions in these as well.
All right, so they are actually they're pulling out the axle right now, so we're gonna go take a look, and maybe John can kind of talk about the axle and where it broke and all that, and we can see where it's at. What do you think, man? We're gonna get back to the track soon, though, right?
Next week, let's go.
I think I'm gonna bring my Supra too.
Oh, this is the first official picture I get to see of it too, right?
Yeah. This is the first official picture of the axle out of the car.
Good. That's what we want.
Hendel, this is Hendel here at the shop, you
What's up,
guys,
guys?
over at CES, and he's the, well, we'll call you the master tech.
Yeah.
How about that?
So this is the CV joint on the axle. There are bearings here, and it has like a metal casing around it, I guess.
Cage.
And the axle gave out here. This is probably the weakest point. The splines did not give out on the hub side. So these are fine.
Yep.
They're not broken.
And that's the side that you want to be sure you don't break.
Yes, exactly.
Right, or else you can't use the axle as a core.
And on the hub as well, it's also intact on the hub on the car. And we still have the other joint there on the diff.
Okay.
So we just got to pull that out and replace the axle. So this axle is rebuildable.
Yeah,
So
based on where it broke.
Yeah, so
essentially.
it can get rebuilt.
She is filthy. So yeah, it'll leave a little bit of mess when that happens. But it's interesting to see for sure. All right, so here are the 2 time slips. Okay, so we're lowering the car because there's people who think that we are running 10.5 passes with nitrous in the car. So we're just gonna show you guys. And no, we didn't take it out. And yes, it is full weight interior.
Both seats are in. Full
Yeah,
exhaust
both
is in.
seats, full exhaust, everything, whole 9. How big is the shot? Oh,
It's not big.
oh, there is no shot. So there you go.
All empty.
Yeah, no night.
Obviously, the braided lines are for the meth kit, not for nitrous.
Right, meth, not nitrous. Meth tank, right over there. You guys have seen that. No nitrous, stock turbo, stock fueling. Literally all that he has is the cone filter with the this is K9, right?
The MST intake.
Or the MST pipe, and then the FTP charge pipe, which really isn't going to enhance performance at all. CES catless downpipe, stock exhaust system, and meth. That's it. Nothing else. So those are the times that you're looking at if you're running your car like this, and it's just crazy how much you can achieve. So simple.
Exciting stuff, man. I love it.
All right, so just getting back over here. As you guys saw the car, they are going to have a new axle. Are you guys putting a built axle in or a stock one?
Well, you know, there's a big back order on everything right now, so we're just gonna throw a stalker in there quickly just to get her up and rolling again, and we'll go out and test some more. Hopefully we won't break them, but if we do have another set that is on order through Titan, and then we might be working on with another company that offer another axle solution for these cars.
Cool. So what was the overall goal like when you guys went into this? What were you hoping to see on the track?
So what we really wanted to do was push the limits of the stock platform. Stock turbo, stock exhaust, full weight. The goal was to see just how much power we could make, number one, reliably, that's streetable, that you can also have fun with at the track, and then also go to the track and see how fast we can get the car. We reached our goal. I was hoping we could hit a 1050, and that's exactly what we did. I was hoping we could get 130 miles an hour, and we were literally right there. I think that third pass would have been maybe a 1040, even a possible 1030 pass, which, you know, according to some of the other guys in the industry, that's what we can do with stock weight and the setup that we have on the car. So for anybody who has an A90 Supra that wants to know the potential they can get out of it without even having to upgrade their turbo and with just basic mods, this is exactly what we were hoping for. I mean, you're a mid to low 10-second car with this stuff. This is pretty amazing stuff.
What's next? We thinking bigger turbo? We thinking custom? We thinking pure? What are we doing?
Well, I mean, there's a few options on the table, obviously, that we've been talking about. Probably the next step for us will be to do the pure 800 turbo, bolt it in, and take it to the next level. We've already done that on a few customer cars. We would like to test it with the E-blend plus the pure 800. We've already done it with 93 and the meth, so now we want to do the E-blend plus the meth and see where that takes us. And then we also have the Evolution of Speed port injection system. We'll throw that on. That's what we would recommend if you do port injection on these cars. And obviously, last but not least, I definitely want to give a big shout out to the MHD guys and to Fabian at Pure Boost, who is always helping us dial in these tunes, sometimes even in the late hours in the evening. So I really appreciate that, by the way. We're going to continue to push these, and hopefully these will be tunes that we can even use for other MHD customers using the MHD platform.
So John and I are actually going to try and get to the track depending on weather next week, and it'll be a good comparison to see, you know, what my car is doing on the track, and B, the comparison between meth and no meth. As you guys know, I have the meth kit on the car, but I'm not running it. And we can kind of compare those stock turbo numbers on the track outside of the dyno. I know you guys have seen a lot of dyno stuff here. Anyways, you guys, if you're looking to do any performance modifications, come here for tuning, dyno, I'm gonna leave CES's information down below. Make sure you hit them up. John, thank you again for all the information today.
Thanks,
appreciate it. It's always a blast coming by and making these videos with you.
I love it.
I think these guys really appreciate it too.
We love the viewers and the support.
All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.